So have you ever had someone ask a question that sounded kind, but something in you instantly felt off? Their tone is calm, their face looks sincere, but deep down you know that they're testing your boundaries. Manipulators, they rarely start with insults or confrontation. They start with questions. Polite, strategic questions that make you doubt yourself, your memory, and your perception. And once they get you to question what it is that you see and feel, they own the conversation. Today, we're breaking down 5 of the most manipulative questions that narcissists use and exactly how to answer them without losing your composure or your power. So let's start with one of their favorites. And I'm sure that 99.9% of you have been asked this question. Why are you being so sensitive? And this one, well, feels harmless at first, right? Maybe the first time they say it, maybe even caring. But don't be fooled. When someone asks you this, they're not trying to understand you. They're trying to shut you down. That question, it's not curiosity, it's criticism disguised as compassion, because they'll say it in a nicer tone at first. What they're really saying is, you're the problem, not me. They want you to second guess your reaction, to think that your discomfort is an overreaction, not a signal that something's wrong. And maybe you called out a rude comment and they laughed it off. Or you mentioned that something they said bothered you and they responded with, you're too sensitive. Like, honey, you're too sensitive. What they're doing is reframing your awareness as a flaw. They twist sensitivity, your natural perception, into something shameful. Being sensitive, it isn't being weak, it's being awake. You're tuned in. It means you notice what others ignore. It's your radar for dishonesty, tension, or manipulation. And people who thrive on control, they hate that radar. They can't stand when you sense the shift in tone, the inconsistencies, the little slips that reveal what's really going on. They're trying to train you to ignore yourself, because once you doubt your own perception, they've won. Now let's take a look at what you can do here if you want to take back your power. When someone says, why are you being so sensitive? Don't get defensive. Don't explain. Don't shrink. What you want to do is you look them straight in the eye and you say calmly and evenly, I'm not being sensitive. I'm being observant. Then pause. You want to let that silence hang in the air. That moment, that calm self-assurance, it's everything. You're no longer reacting, which is what they want. You're responding. Everything the narcissist does is to make you react. You have to remember this. And manipulators, they can't handle composure. Remember that. Composure is your power, always. They only know how to control chaos. So remember this, sensitivity isn't the problem, it's the alarm. When you stop apologizing for noticing things, you stop handing people the keys to your peace. Every manipulative question is designed to knock you off balance, to make you defend yourself instead of standing firm. But when you stay calm, when you respond instead of react, their game falls apart. Clarity exposes manipulation every single time. They want a reaction. I can't say that often enough. No amount of letters or emails that you send to them is going to do it. This is what'll do it. The next question that I want to talk about is, you trust me, don't you? That's a loaded question. When someone says, you trust me, don't you? They're not really asking for assurance. They're testing your loyalty. It's all about control. Because if they were truly trustworthy, they'd never need to ask. Their honesty, their consistency, their transparency, those things would speak for themselves. But a manipulator doesn't want to earn trust. They want to skip that part. They want you to feel guilty for being cautious, to see your boundaries as betrayal. Because that's how they see your boundaries. You're the slave that's not listening. And once you start feeling guilty for needing proof, you've already started surrendering your power. So let's break this down. When someone says to you, you trust me, right? They're putting you on the spot. You're not just answering a question here, you're being tested. So if you say yes, you're granting them a free pass to act without accountability. But if you hesitate, they'll act wounded, as if your caution has somehow hurt them. That's the trap. It's designed to make you doubt your instincts and rush back into compliance. I mean, think about the business partner who dodges questions but smiles and says, "Hey, you trust me, don't you?" Or the partner who hides messages, shifts stories, and still insists with, "You trust me, right?" They're not building trust, they're demanding it. And anytime trust is demanded instead of earned, you should pause. Trust isn't a gift, it's a track record. It's something that grows through actions that line up with words over time. So when someone pressures you with that question, you don't owe them an instant reassurance. You owe yourself clarity. So here's how to respond. Calm, composed, and confident. And my cat's being noisy, so I apologize if she's making too much noise. And make sure that you're portraying that confidence. And then you'll say something like, "Trust is built by consistency. Are you asking me to ignore what I've seen?" And that one line, it flips the script completely, because now you're not on trial, their behavior is. If they're genuine, they'll understand. They'll lean in, they'll listen, and they'll show you through their actions. But if they're hiding something, you'll see it right away. The defensiveness, the anger, the quick attempt to change the subject. And that reaction tells you more than any reassurance ever could. So don't trust their words, trust their actions. Trust isn't about blind faith, it's about discernment. You're not paranoid for asking questions, you're wise for noticing patterns. So the next time someone says, "You trust me, don't you?" don't rush to fill the silence. Let it breathe. Real trust doesn't need convincing. It's proven quietly day after day. And anyone who tries to skip that process isn't asking for trust. They're asking for control. The next question I want to look at is, are you accusing me? That one's a classic. It sounds defensive, but it's actually strategic, because this question, it's not about truth. It's about distraction. When someone says, "Are you accusing me?" they're not looking for clarity. They're trying to flip the power dynamic. Suddenly the focus shifts away from what they did and straight onto you. You go from being the person asking for an explanation to being the person who now has to defend your tone, your intentions, and your right to even ask. Let's say that you notice something's off, a story that doesn't add up, a strange behavior, a pattern that makes you uneasy. You bring it up calmly, and instead of an answer, you get, "Wait, are you accusing me of something?" And that's when the trap snaps shut. Now you're suddenly on trial. They act offended, and before you know it, you're backpedaling. "No, no, no, I didn't mean it that way. I was just asking." And in that moment, they've won, because the conversation has moved away from their actions and onto your delivery. It's a masterclass in misdirection. What's really happening underneath that question is they're counting on your discomfort. They're betting that you care more about keeping the peace than keeping the truth straight. You don't want 5 days of silent treatment, right? And if they can make you feel guilty for questioning them, they don't have to explain anything. So here's how you hold your ground here. I say here a lot, don't I? When someone hits you with, "Are you accusing me?" pause. Don't rush to fill the silence. So then calmly and evenly say, "Should I be?" And that's it. 3 words, delivered without emotion, without sarcasm, just steady clarity. And this works because it puts the pressure right back where it belongs. You're not accusing, you're observing. You're not emotional, you're composed. And manipulators can't stand that stillness. They rely on chaos. The person who has nothing to hide is going to stay calm. They'll answer your question directly. But the person who's hiding something, they're going to deflect, they're going to exaggerate, or they're going to try to twist the conversation again. So keep your tone neutral. Keep your posture relaxed. You're not on defense here. You're in control. And this is what emotional discipline looks like. Not coldness, not indifference, just calm self-possession. Try it, you'll see. When someone tries to bait you into an argument, don't take it. Because the moment that you start defending your tone instead of your truth, you're already stepping into their game. So stay steady. No matter how hard it is, keep going. You can do it. Ask your question once and let silence do the rest. Every manipulative question is designed to throw you off balance, to pull you away from your intuition. But the moment that you slow down and you stop reacting, you shift the power back to yourself. Control, it's not about domination, it's about composure. And composure is what every narcissist fears the most. Next question, would I lie to you? Yeah, right. And this question comes coded in innocence. The tone is soft, maybe even hurt. Like, how could you think that of me? But make no mistake, especially the covert here. This is not a question, it is a performance. When someone asks, would I lie to you, they're not defending the truth. They're trying to make you feel guilty for doubting them. It's a trap wrapped in sincerity. They want you to see them as the victim, not the potential liar. Because if they can turn your suspicion into shame, you'll stop asking questions. So here's how it usually plays out. You noticed something's off, a contradiction, a story that doesn't fit, a detail that doesn't add up. You bring it up calmly and they act offended. Come on, would I lie to you about something like that? And then they tilt their head, they sigh, maybe even laugh like you're being so ridiculous. It's emotional manipulation disguised as disbelief. But pause for a second. Why would anyone need to say that unless they sensed your doubt? Because honest people, they don't rush to prove their honesty. They just tell the truth and let time do the rest. So when someone insists, I'd never lie to you, what they're really saying is, I need you to stop looking so closely. They want reassurance, not accountability. And that's the giveaway. Real integrity does not need convincing. It shows up in consistent behavior, in words that match actions. If someone truly values your trust, they'll protect it through truth, not plead for it through guilt. So when you hear that line, take a breath. Don't rush to comfort them. Don't apologize for doubting. Again, you want to look at them straight in the eye and say calmly, again calmly, that's not really the question. The question is, would I even know if you did? Now that response stops the act cold because now you've shifted the power dynamic. You're no longer the one trying to justify your instincts. They're the one under the spotlight here. And watch their reaction, because someone genuine will take that seriously. Someone deceptive will deflect, minimize, or change the subject immediately. Or they'll yell. Either way, you'll get your answer, not through their words, but through their discomfort. Narcissists, they rely on your need to keep things calm. They weaponize your empathy. They count on you to back down when they act hurt or insulted. But calm does not mean compliant. You can stay composed and still hold your ground. Wanting clarity is not cruelty either. It's self-respect, and you owe that to yourself every bit as much as the rest of the world. I mean, people who value honesty will never make you feel guilty for seeking it. So when someone asks, would I lie to you? Stay still, stay observant. Truth does not need defending. Every manipulative question is meant to redirect your focus with these people away from their behavior and onto your emotions. But once you stop reacting from guilt and start responding from calm awareness, the game ends. Real power isn't in proving your point. It's in knowing that you don't need to. And then lastly, we have, can't we just move on? Yeah, right. This is the last move in their playbook. The final attempt to regain control. It sounds harmless, even reasonable. But don't be fooled here, because the question is not about peace. It's about shutting down accountability. When someone says this, what they're really saying is, I don't want to deal with the consequences of my actions. So stop asking, stop thinking, and stop noticing. It's a classic narcissist trap. They hope that your patience is going to run out, that your need for clarity is going to fade, and that you'll just let it go. Truth doesn't expire because someone's tired of being questioned here. So again, breathe and don't rush to appease. Respond with calm authority again. Always calm. I will move forward when I fully understand what happened, not a moment before. Just that. Simple, firm, no guilt, no explanation, no apology. And what that does is it puts the responsibility back on them. They can no longer pressure you to abandon your standards. They have to face the consequences of their own actions, and you don't have to carry their discomfort either. But we know full well that a narcissist won't bend that easily, because win is what they will. Once a narcissist realizes that they can't control you with guilt or pressure, they often withdraw. And this silent treatment or sudden disappearance is another form of manipulation. It's a punishment designed to make you anxious, second guess yourself, and chase after them to fix things. So when this happens, here's what the victim can do next. First, you want to recognize what's happening. It's control through absence. Don't look at it as though you're being rejected here. They're trying to control. They're waiting for you to break the silence first. And once you see it for what it is, it loses a lot of its power. So do not chase. The moment that you start calling, apologizing, or trying to reopen communication, they win. It proves their tactics still work. So instead, hold your boundary. Continue living your life. Stay calm, even if it feels uncomfortable. And it will feel uncomfortable. Re-anchor yourself in reality. Narcissists, they rely on confusion to keep you dependent. And when you're feeling rejected, work on self. It's a good time to work on self. Remind yourself that you did nothing wrong by asking for clarity or accountability. Remind yourself that they aren't upset. They're manipulating in this silent treatment and insisting on avoiding accountability. Their silence, aka punishment, is not your responsibility to fix. You want to take that silence as information, not rejection. Their walkaways, they show you how they handle conflict by avoiding accountability. That's not love, that's control. So use this time to observe their patterns instead of reacting to them. And lastly, decide your next step from a place of strength. Once the emotional charge subsides, you're going to be in a better position to choose what's best for you. So do you want to maintain a relationship where accountability is impossible? Or do you want to protect your peace and step back for good? Keep in mind that their silence is not power. Your calm is. The most powerful thing that you can do after a narcissist withdraws is to not collapse into self-blame or panic. And it isn't comfortable. I know it is scary. But are you looking for comfort or are you looking for change? Narcissists, they thrive on your emotional reaction, your guilt, your frustration, your fear of being seen as difficult. Take that away and they have nothing. No leverage, no power, no control. Remaining composed in the face of these questions isn't coldness, it's self-possession. It's the refusal to let someone else dictate the terms of your peace. Every manipulative question from why are you so sensitive to can't we just move on is designed to erode your confidence and blur your perception. And when you respond with calm clarity, you reclaim your power. The key isn't confrontation, it never is. It's presence. It's noticing the pattern, recognizing the tactic, and answering in a way that keeps your center intact. Because the only thing that narcissists fear more than exposure is composure. So stand steady and stand tall. Ask your questions, hold your boundaries, and remember, clarity, patience, and reason are your strongest shields. So that is all for today. Take care, and we shall see you in the next video. Bye for now.